All right. Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday Funday. This was totally an unplanned stream. Unplanned streamed? Past tense? Unplanned stream. Anyway, it's Sunday morning. And I want to talk about Siren Head out of all things. Siren Head. What is this thing? What is this abomination? Some sort of, what's its origins? A video game? A creepypasta? Just some artist creation. We'll get into that. Also, share my thoughts once again about how Twitter just encourages cancel culture and is probably the a cancer of society. Twitter. What about you? For me, anytime I go on Twitter, it's all sorts of negativity. Maybe it's because all I see, I don't know, but it seems like just about every trending hashtag, every trending thing is someone's going to be canceled for some stuff they did years ago. And it's like, okay, good luck on that. You guys want to get all angry with your pitchforks or your torches over things that people have done years ago. They were okay then, that everyone knew about then, and everyone was like laughing at it and having a good time about. But now the moral police is here, and now it's a problem to where now that person needs to be canceled outright and taken out. And the worst thing about it is that corporations bend the knee to this woke social justice mob. They bend the knee to them when they're just whiny, pathetic, very sad individuals. Like, they must have no happiness in their life. They must be so miserable that their sole existence is to hate on everything that gives other people happiness, that makes other people happy. Make no mistake, cancel culture doesn't create anything. It destroys everything. It doesn't create anything at all, but it destroys everything. Isn't that true? If not, what's wrong with that statement? What's one thing cancel culture creates? Moral police? We don't need moral police, just like how we don't need hall monitors, right? We don't need moral police, okay? You know who else has moral police? Saudi Arabia, okay? They have religious police. Y'all want that? Anyway, Sunday Funday stream. Let's talk about Siren Head. Who is Siren Head? What is Siren Head? This thing is creepy. Now, my son's been into this thing. My son's only 6, and he's been watching a lot of Siren Head videos. But he loves that sort of thing. It doesn't give him any nightmares or anything like that, which is weird. But it does look very creepy. It's, from what I understand, Siren Head is a 40-foot tall humanoid creature. It looks very emaciated. Sorry, I can't even read. I can't speak right now. Emaciated. I don't know. I need more coffee. That's what I need. Very skeletal, very starved, mummified looking, definitely fleshy, but it looks like it's like rusted metal. Here in this image here, you have, makes it look like it's a painting. Could be a painting. I don't know. But yeah, it's very tall. And it is humanoid. Very skinny looking. You can see its ribs. You could see like the veins. I guess they're wires. I'm not really sure if they're veins for blood or for something else. I know it eats people. Apparently, Siren Head will eat people. The arms are extremely long. They are the length of the body, like all the way from the shoulders all the way down to the feet. It will grab you. It also just stands there. It stands there for a long time. It can stand completely still. And while it's standing there, apparently it's hunting. It just waits for its prey. It plays this creepy music, or creepy sounds from the sirens that are mounted on its neck. Look like it's bound there by flesh. And you see wires coming out of it going down its neck and to its back. Very creepy looking. When I saw this thing, I was like, wow, that seems like it was so easy, like such an easy siren head. That's all it takes. Siren head. I told my son, I'm gonna create my own. I'm gonna call it bell tower head, and it's literally just a bell tower on a head, and it rings the bell, and it has a more like biblical, like a biblical, I guess, element to it. Ding ding. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, let me play the siren. This is what it sounds like. It's very creepy sounding. Here we go. Ready? Did I hear that? That's the siren. That's the sound that Siren Head makes. And according to this information here, it looks like the sound was what I'm playing here. This audio recording was recorded on June 20th, 2010 in Chicago, Illinois, and multiple witnesses claim that the CPD, the witnesses call it in the CPD as a tornado siren in Willow Springs Woods, but it started unexpectedly at exactly midnight. But when CPD arrived at the scene, the sound had stopped and the source could not be located. They didn't know what the source was of that sound. So now what about this one? Imagine camping and you hear this. Okay. Apparently that was recorded in August 28th, 2018 in Weyer, Austria. So, I don't know. Is that true? Is that real news? Or is that just creepypasta fake? I'll leave that up to you. I'll leave that up to you. But it does look very creepy. Like I said, it's 40 foot tall, kind of stands there. It plays these weird sounds, like a siren sound from its like megaphone siren things on its head. Now, I mentioned that it does eat people. In the sirens are a bunch of teeth. It will grab people and it will feed it into the megaphone. Imagine that. That'd be a terrible way to go. There's a quote about this. She was on vacation with her husband, and they were scoping out graveyards on the way, as you do, when she saw it, rising out of the old cemetery, big as an old telephone pole. Was this some kind of bizarre art piece the authorities hadn't gotten wise to yet? Even as she stepped out of the car, the megaphones on its head screeched to life. 9, 18, 1, child, 17, remove, vile. A buzzing, doubled voice screamed random words at her. At this point, it jerked into motion, striding down the hill towards her. Now, this is from someone who claims to have seen Siren Head. So is Siren Head real? I don't know. What about its hunting tactics? Let's talk about that. Siren Head, he hunts by standing completely still in heavily forested areas. He can also look like a lamp post. He makes Amber Alerts, mimicking sirens, mimicking voices, mimicking the voices of people that are close to him. So he apparently has some sort of telepathic powers. Like he seems to be aware of you. Maybe some sort of elder god, an ancient god. Maybe some sort of Lovecraftian god that we just don't know of yet. Maybe he is God. Maybe this is the embodiment of God. And he's come down and he's tired. He's hungry. It's currently not known for sure what Siren Head does to its victims. But some speculate that it eats them. Like, just throws them in the mouth. Something they say. It eats them. And when it does, it adds their voice to the roster of voices that it has. But that's an interesting theory. Because according to some accounts, even without being eaten, Siren Head is mimicking their voice. So it's like, no, it's not to mimic their voice, but he does eat them. He does eat them. He's fueled by their blood. It's fueled by their blood. Now, I have a video on this that we can play and get into. I think it'd be very fun. Let's do that. Here we go.
Henderson's creations. Now, I'll probably be covering other Trevor Henderson creations, but for now, let's talk about Siren Head.
So apparently, this is a creation from Trevor Henderson. Is that true? Is that just a cover-up? It could be. I don't know.
Let's just start by looking through all the posts that include Siren Head, as well as lore, and other posts that I feel may be connected. All the posts I'm going to be going through are from Trevor Henderson's Instagram page. This is the first Siren Head post. The caption reads, "She was on vacation with her husband, and they were scoping out graveyards on the way, as you do, when she saw it, rising out of the old cemetery."
Yeah, we read this one.
"Big as an old macabre telephone pole. Was this some kind of bizarre art piece the authorities hadn't gotten wise to yet? Even as she stepped out of the car, the megaphones on its head screeched to life.
9, 18, 1, child, 17, remove, vial."
A buzzing double...
Okay, as a horror fan, someone who loves horror, this is a pretty genius idea. Very creepy. Very creepy. It's so interesting how it comes about. I mean, just imagine seeing that there. Imagine just seeing that. You're the only one around. Maybe you try to snap a photo of it and it interferes with your cell phone or something. You see that. What would you do? Would you run? It looks like it would reach you. It looks like it would grab you. I think it was a pretty smart idea. I think it is.
Old voice screamed random words at her. At this point, it jerked into motion, striding down the hill towards her. Next post. July 16th, 1995. Chad Gewick?
I think it's Gewick. I'm horrible with last names. I'm horrible with names, period. So.
Buick is found wandering the woods of Tanyard Creek in northwest Arkansas. He is admitted with minor injuries, and when questioned, he claims his friends were taken or killed by something huge striding through the trees that mimicked their voice.
Okay, the one thing that will quickly dismiss Siren Head and Siren Head sightings is that the way that thing walks, it would have to leave some big footprints, right? It's pretty big, it's tall. It may not weigh that much. It doesn't look like it would weigh that much. But still, it would leave footprints.
Voices. The next post, captioned, "On the back of the photo is written,
I like this
Arizona
one.
Desert Family Vacation, 1966, in magic marker. The rash of disappearances had two commonalities. It was
Alright, and this one's the lamp post version, which, according to my son, I think it's called Whitehead. I'm not sure. It could be another species, or it could be just, maybe it transforms the head. It could be a species. It could be, another transformation. But we don't know.
It was always people walking the side streets on their way home from work from some social outing, and it was always dark by the time people started wondering where they were. It was always past when the streetlights come on. Here is where things get interesting. The head is no longer a siren, but instead a street lamp. But I'll get into that in the analysis. The next post is Siren Head Facts. Siren Head is around 40 feet tall, about the size of a telephone pole. Skin looks like rusty metal, but is actually dried.
So if it looks like, I wonder if it is metal. Like if the bones are metallic. If the bones were metallic, it would definitely weigh a pretty good amount. Which, I mean, you should see some footprints wherever the Siren Head goes. Unless Siren Head could kind of like disappear and appear in other places, like kind of like phase in, phase out sort of thing. This stuff is pretty cool. I like it. I like the mummified skin. One moment. Anyway, with the mummified skin, it makes me wonder how this thing was created, Siren Head. If he was, I don't know. He's so massive, so big. I don't know how. I mean, if it's actually flesh, mummified flesh, is it some sort of like fallen angel or some demon thing? I don't know, but it's 40 feet tall. The flesh looks mummified. It's clearly starving. It's hungry. This has to be some sort of abomination from hell or from heaven or something. I don't know what this is.
In mummified skin. Arms are as long as the length of the body, big reach like a gibbon, has been seen with different head arrangements, though it is unclear whether or not these are subspecies or if it's able to change its head to better hide when hunting. It is a highly skilled predator using deception and subterfuge to confuse and disorient prey. It is unclear if or how it gains nourishment from the things it kills.
I could answer that. It looks like blood. It looks like it just eats the victims to survive. I mean, look at the thing. It's starving. Siren Head is starving. He just wants a meal. Which, you know, maybe the reason why we haven't seen too many sightings of him is because maybe he gets fooled now. You know, Americans are pretty fat and lazy, right? Maybe he just grabs a family of 4 fat asses, eats them, and then maybe he's good. Maybe he's good for a week or so, right?
Speakers constantly pump out strange music, odd snippets of conversation, and angrily shouted words and numbers. When it's asleep, it plays white noise. Speakers are the only actual metal in its body.
Oh, this thing sleeps. Siren Head sleeps. And the white noise is pretty smart, because even if you try to look for it, maybe the white noise can be so intense it puts you to sleep too. So you can't find it. But, so if you're hunting for Siren Head, follow the white noise. If you hear white noise, follow it. That might be Siren Head. Okay?
Fused with its dried skin. Abdomen and chest show wires pressed against the skin. They writhe when it's agitated. Will remain motionless while hunting, sometimes for days at a time. Most frequently seen in rural town areas and in heavy wooded areas. A head will rotate on its neck as it broadcasts, much like an owl looking for prey. Next we have this post.
Interesting. So it definitely is a top apex predator, okay? That much we know. I don't know what could take it out. I did put a post out there, and there's a kind of a running thing about Siren Head versus SPC 173. I don't know if that would be a good match. Siren Head doesn't have any eyes. SPC 173, as long as you look at it, it doesn't move. So Siren Head won't be able to stop it from moving. So I guess... Oh, that's a discussion later for another day. Anyway.
Photo discovered from an abandoned cell phone by father and son hikers in Yellowstone National Park, July 14th, 2016. Now, I decided to include this one because I think its design is similar enough to be related, even though you can't tell if it's actually a siren head. Next, visitors to the motel that night dismissed the item as a piece of grotesque statue art, according to Goodnight Inn manager Ann.
I like these photos. I like this. Clearly it's photoshopped, clearly, but it looks cool. It looks really cool. Or maybe it's not photoshopped. Maybe that's real.
Garnick, not knowing its appearance preceded a grim, and then it cuts off. The next Siren Head post is...
For the
Where am
next
I?
30
Please, I need
seconds,
help.
this station will conduct a test of the emergency
Can anyone
broadcast
hear me?
system. This is only
Let
a
me out.
test. This only a test.
This one simply has the caption,
Whoa.
followed on my morning walk.
Wait. There's a whole family of Siren Heads. Siren Head has a family. He's getting busy. Siren Head's wife, Siren Head's kids. He has kids. So it does have a gender. It has to reproduce. One has a dick, one has a pussy. It has to.
Walk. Again, I'm including this because while I feel like they don't look exactly the same, they could be similar or related. Next post, the notion that vampire
That would be
rules
creepy. Imagine seeing that. What would you do if you saw that? Get your shotgun out.
applied was quickly squashed. It took a step towards the doorway as worm-like fingers curled over the top of the frame. Next, when they'd been gone long enough for the parents to get
that one
worried,
looks
the
too
rangers
fake.
responding found where they'd set up and the remains.
And it doesn't even look like a siren head. It looks like a skull head.
And the photos. Now, while this one has a humanoid head, I still feel it's worth putting here. Next, we have another picture of just Siren Head. Many residents were awoken in the late hours of the night before the incident, complaining of sirens and garbled announcements echoing across the lake.
Okay, look at that. This thing could just stay out there, outside of a cabin, and play the creepy siren stuff. People will come out and be like, what is that noise? And then just reach down, grabs the family, and just snacks on them. Like that. It gets a family value meal without having to do much. Pretty smart.
Here we have another one that's a little bit different. No one seemed to see the same thing he did, so he just drove on the shoulder until it passed, and tried not to look into his rearview mirror until he'd made the turn and was long out of sight. This one is especially interesting because it seems to have 4 arms. This one is quite simple, simply reading disappearance in Crewdson, Indiana. Next, we have the last Siren Head post on the Instagram at the time of recording. We heard it long before we crested the hill and saw it in the fields, unmoving.
Okay, now I'm curious. Are we going to see a wind turbine man? Or wind turbine head? Are we going to see that? That'd be something to see. That would be something to see. See, that's the other thing. Someone who, as a horror writer, I'm thinking, wow, like I could see a gimmick in this. You could just take anything and call it a head and make a creepy monster out of it and call it a day. Like bell tower head.
I could tell it was looking at me, even though it didn't have a head. So let's figure out what it all means, at least in my opinion. From what I gather, and from a little bit of speculation on my part, Siren Head is a 40-foot tall, half-metal, half-organic, anomalous creature that feeds on humans. However, it doesn't...
It does feed on humans. I'm thinking it needs us for sustenance. I think it eats us for sustenance.
eat them. Instead, it sort of consumes them into its...
It eats them. This guy is splitting hairs here. If a monster picks you up and throws you into its mouth looking thing and chews you up, what do you call that? Being eaten or being absorbed by the monster? Come on now.
self, not physically, more metaphysically. His form of consumption is adding you to his roster of voices, sort of...
No.
like the face stealer in Avatar. That way he can then lure other people. However, Siren Head isn't the only one of these creatures. He's a subset of Trevor Henderson's universe. Some have humanoid heads, some have other disguised heads, some even have more than 4 limbs. However, how these other versions eat is unclear. Now let's talk about their movement, the disappearances, and their locations. The appearances seem to range from Arkansas to Arizona to Indiana to Idaho.
So what about Texas? I think Texas might be safe. We have guns, a lot of guns.
Iowa to Idaho, Canada to Mexico, and is seen in areas from forests to cities. This is one reason I think these are different creatures. They've adapted to different environments. However, all of them appear to live in the non-coastal Middle South United States. They move slowly, which means they mostly...
I wonder why they like that area. Good eating.
Wait for their prey to come to them. They use their appearance as camouflage, typically hiding in plain sight, using their means of camo, in Siren Head's case it being his siren head, as a way to attract prey. In Siren Head's case, he can use the voices he steals to lure people to him, although it's still unclear whether his random words voice is one of his victims or his original voice. What did you think of this episode of The Creep?
I think this is pretty creepy stuff. I think Siren Head is very interesting. I think it's a pretty cool concept. I'm a little green with envy. I'm a little jealous because it seems so simple, but it's so good. Such a pretty smart idea. Pretty smart idea. I like that. I like it. The other thing I want to talk about here for Sunday Funday is, I kind of talked about it already, Twitter being a cesspool of negativity. It's like anymore you go on Twitter and anything that trends is going to be someone's going to get canceled or someone's being canceled or whatever because the outrage mob is trying to win, and they win because for some reason corporations bend the knee to them, and it's sad and it's pathetic. There needs to be more people with a spine who just say no, because that's all you have to do is say no. You say no. When the SJW outrage mob and this woke mob comes after you and starts screaming, they're like toddlers screaming, demanding stuff. You know what you tell them? No. That's it. And then you don't respond. You don't argue with the toddler. You wouldn't argue. So why would you argue with some outraged woke person? Why would you? It's really dumb. It doesn't get anywhere. No need to argue what is pointless, right? But these corporations do not get that. In fact, if anything, they're trying to appease the outraged woke, which is funny because you can't appease the outraged woke, and they will cancel until they have nothing else to cancel before they figured that out. That's what I'm wondering. It's either going to take that or until they start getting hit in their wallet. Once it starts hitting their money, they might start changing course. But there's people within these corporations that value their wokeness over money. Man, I understand some people are easily offended by certain things, whether it be in the media or certain jokes or certain video games or shows or comics. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you have to get on your soapbox. Doesn't mean you have to go on your soapbox and call for people to go after them, right? Like, if there's comics I wouldn't read. There's books I wouldn't read. There's video games I wouldn't play. They're not my thing. You know what I don't do? I don't advocate for them to be canceled. There's people I don't agree with. Look, right here, you can't see it, is a wall scroll of Earthworm Jim. I love that game. I love Earthworm Jim. Doug TenNapel is an interesting guy. Do I agree with everything he says? No. And it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Even if I disagree with what he says, it doesn't mean I want him to be canceled. No. He has his own opinions about things. That's fine. Every man should. If you don't, then I guess you are an NPC. If you don't have your own opinions about things and have to make sure that your opinion is with that of the hive mind, then maybe you're nothing more than just another, NPC. What I'm saying is people have different opinions, and that's fine. We don't need to start canceling people because people have different opinions. And that even includes things you might consider to be problematic or whatever. You know, like Doug TenNapel's case. You know, he has opinions about gay marriage and stuff. Okay, so he's not totally for it. He's not for it at all. Guess what? That's okay. That's his opinion. It could just end at that. And in a mature, reasonable society, it would just end at that. But apparently, some people take that as a call, as a way to snuff that bigotry out. Like there's some militant moral police. That is the biggest mistake. And that is the product. Of a combination of things. Probably, I want to say it's not any one of these things, but it's a combination. Maybe some have more weight than others. Participation trophies. Everybody's a winner. No losers. That little maxim that was put out there. What's happened in college? Everyone's important. Everyone needs to go to college, and they get that wokeness. It's like they get something about, I don't know what it is. Like in the courses, they encourage. Not only do they, I don't know, man. I guess somehow they get encouraged to just attack everything they don't agree with. Just attack, and they feed into it. So social media, that dopamine effect that you get from like Twitter or whatever, because we need to cancel this person, we need to cancel this person, and being able to do that. You know what? I think it's really more like Twitter and social media. I think that might be the huge part about this, because if we didn't have those things, you would still have people that are offended and want to cancel things. Back in the day, they wrote into the company and they just dismissed it because it's just a stupid, piece of mail. But now everyone's connected through Twitter and Facebook. If you wanna save society, save Western society, destroy Twitter, destroy Facebook. I'm just telling you, because they're corrupt to the bone. They might be. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that, and that's about it. That's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the Sunday Funday. Y'all have a good one.